This is the Villagers Podcast.
And I'm one of the villagers. Okay, here's my quote of the day. If you ever start thinking that humanity has come a long way, or you're starting to believe in them a whole bunch, clean a couple of commercial bathrooms and see what people are willing to leave behind for you to clean up. Holy shit. I am still surprised on a daily basis what bombs people are leaving behind.
People are just fucking animals, Sean.
We really are just semi-polite animals. It is nuts. So what's going on over yonder, man? It is 87 degrees here at 5 a.m.
Oh, it's actually chilly here to get a little jacket on.
Oh, shit. Wow. Oh, how the world changes. I've said this summer, climate change has worked for Oklahoma. Really, we're better off. It's weird. All right, so here's a funny thing. So Frank Lucas, one of our representatives in the United States House of Representatives, said that, and he's blaming you guys in China for it. Climate change, industrial, man-made climate change. He can't do anything about what India or China does. He can only do something about what we do here. Now, just oil wells that are unplugged in America, leaking methane gas, are the equivalent to 2.4 million cars being on the road every day, all day.
Okay.
Right.
See, the developing world has always had that argument where you guys dumped carbon from the 60s all the way to 2000s, and now that the other economies are finally industrialized and catching up, they're like, oh, you can't dump that much. We did it.
Yeah. Exactly. It's your fault now because you're doing it. So I don't know how that all works out. I know it would have been great if the Chinese economy would have gone off of something other than oil, but it's still the most dependable item. Like oil and gas, when I turn on my stove, I need it to work. When I turn on my car, I need it to work. Crazy stuff. So what were we talking about today now that I got off on the tangent of bathrooms and global warming?
While we're on bathrooms, I just want to tell you this, as a bar owner, you're going to find this amusing. I was at a pub here in Bangalore called Watson's, and they were telling me that on Saturdays now it's couple entry only, because they used to have a gang of 5 people come in there and stand. Everybody would order just waters. One guy would order a pint of beer, and then at the end of the shift, when they go clean out the loos, they would find little airline bottles of plastic bottles left in all the loos. Yeah.
So we still get that. But I'm all good with humans' behavior, and it is. I can't imagine what rents are in Bangalore, but they've got to be as high or higher than what we pay here. Even though you're the size of New York City, I don't know, just from a monetary difference, but it's. When people do stuff like that, the places are just going to close. I mean, they can't make it. And it's good for whoever gets to do that for a while. I used to have a group that got together at my place, and they did that. And the guy was like, oh, no, you'll get good advertising off it and everything. And I go, dude, I came in here 2 hours early so you guys could drink effing water. I mean, come on. That's not how this works. So we stopped that. Crazy stuff. All right, so we were going to talk about Patriot Pastors today. Wasn't that the...
Yep, the main story was supposed to be your lovely little thing that you got tickets to and went and saw, and also what else is going on here with that victimized group of January 6th.
Yeah, they're political prisoners. And here's the thing. I am from a family of people that fought on the revolutionary side of Ireland against England. And we literally moved them out of our country with pitchforks and sticks, and they had guns. So I don't want anybody to think that I don't understand what revolutionary forces are like or how this works. But here, we basically had the world's most embarrassing attempt at a coup on January 6th for some people, the 3 people in the world that don't know. And really and truly, we're very good at throwing over foreign governments. We're very bad at throwing over our own government. But they did try. Or if you believe this lady when she spoke for an hour, let me tell you the story, and then I'll tell you why you and I both know she was an actress. Okay. Mm-hmm. So she shows up to January 6th, a true Trump believer. And the people in the room I was in were true Trump believers. And she spoke here in Oklahoma City the night before, and I believe did a luncheon that day and gave presentations at all 3 of them. So she's in front of probably 350 or 400 believers. Because you wouldn't go if you weren't a believer, unless you're an idiot like me and you just want to observe. I want to know why people do what they do. I am legitimately interested in humans, no matter whether it's good or bad. I want to know what in the hell makes them want to do this. So she goes January 6th. She does the walk down to the Capitol. She says she walks up to the Capitol, and if you look at some video, she might be right. An officer has the door open and is waving her through. That is possible because I saw officers holding the doors open once they realized they were overwhelmed. They were like, hey, we'll just roll with it and be alive at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And she evidently opened the door to Nancy Pelosi's office and saw the guy sitting on the desk there. I think he may have defecated in her office or something else as well, you know. Defecated means taking a poop, folks. And
see, the reason why I enjoy that you have to go attend these things is because I'm hoping that I'll get a comedy bit out of it.
Oh no, this is pretty solid. So she says she meanders out and leaves. Mm-hmm. And so she believes that is the demonstration that happened. So then while she's crying this entire time and has this Kleenex box that she pulls out one whole Kleenex, flaps it around, and is always doing this shit. But she's like a low-grade TED Talk. I mean, mm-hmm. And I mean that. There's nothing wrong with her. She was an excellent speaker, excellent actress, but cried for an hour and a half. We used to have this religious person named Tammy Faye Baker that would cry like this. Every mm-hmm. broadcast, just cry. And she was talking about her friends that were in jail and as political prisoners and all this. And the jails don't treat them very well. And they have had some of them locked up for 800 days without, I don't think it's without charges, but what they are holding them on is what is called the Patriot Act. So when 9/11 happened, anytime something major happens, and you guys as a growing country really have to watch out for this. Whenever mm-hmm. something major happens, there is a power grab because people are scared. It is a perfect opportunity for politicians to get things done they could never get done any other time. And so they got this thing through called the Patriot Act. These guys are considered terrorists, guys and women considered terrorists. And so you get to hold them without charges. No. And which in America is pretty terrifying. That's against everything we believe in here. Mm-hmm. But they were also in the Capitol building. You know, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, possession is 9/10 of the law. They had possession of the Capitol building. So I think that's fair. So she goes into this rant about how good people they were and everything else. And she believed that there was 1 to 3 million people there that day. 1 to 3 million. And I was like,
oh, wow.
No, but I'll give you 100,000 were at the original rally. I will say that. But there were no 1 to 3 million anywhere, unless you think they're Trump supporters. I mean, that's all you could say. So, and they're having a peaceful protest. And then the Antifa and Black Lives Matter showed up and caused all that trouble. And that's who they were blaming. So Black Lives Matter, for one, any of us can look at the video, and there were very few brown and black people there. Very few. It appeared to be my type of looks that was attracted to something like that. This right here.
At least if they had a shaman who wasn't white, I would have agreed that there were some colored people in there. A white dude is no shaman, okay? That's a fundamental rule I go by.
Oh my God, right. So the world's worst coup and the world's worst leader, because the shaman would have been the guy who actually prayed over it, right? Before you threw yourself to death. And then so she's talking about the woman who gets shot going through. through the window. And she's the only person that was really killed by security, but she was going into where Congress is. So they were defending it. So she said that lady, that there was a bunch of police behind her that she kept talking to and was having a fine time with. And she couldn't understand what happened with the window. And that's why she climbed up there. And then they murdered her. I'm just telling you what she said. I'm not making a, well, I guess I am making a judgment call, but I'm trying not to make a judgment call. But everything was turned around pretty well. So this goes on for an hour and a half, Deepak. An hour and a half, because we all watched the video. We kind of know what happened, and she was just literally laying out this different narrative, which is welcome to politics these days. That's how shit works. But before she spoke, this guy gets up and he's with Patriot Pastors, is what it's called, and it's not a very big group. So this is. What's unnerving about this is she got in front of 400 or 500 people that day, and she was a very good salesperson. And if you wanted to believe that, she reinforced your beliefs. She really did. She was good at it. And then the Patriot pastor is putting on civics classes at his church, and the other Patriot pastors are putting on civics classes. So I don't know what that means. And I am
what sort of civics are they teaching me? I know.
Exactly. Bible-based civics. So, I mean, mostly don't you kill people then? And some people slept with their children, and, it's okay to beat your wife, not thicker than a stick.
That is my cow. Don't touch my stuff.
Right. So I don't know where this kind of stuff goes. I just find it fascinating that there's this big of a group of people out there that believe this way. And the takeoff was the audience was old enough where I don't think it's much of a concern. No. But what I do not like to see is this was supposedly not about money, but yet she was selling books and shit at the end of it. So it was about money.
You got to get that merch money, Sean, when you're in front of people.
Right. I know. And I understand that as well as anybody. But if you're going to say it's not about money, and she doesn't take money and all this other stuff. And she was talking about the FBI sending the local sheriff to raid her flower shop to arrest her. And I was like, yeah, welcome to what everyone else bitches about with law enforcement, that they come in heavy-handed. But that's because they also get shot occasionally. That's why they come in heavy-handed. I mean, there really are two sides to this. You walk up with your little 6-shooter from 1950 and some guy's got a goddamn machine gun. You better have a machine gun next time you show up in case that guy is there. And yes, it escalates everything, but they're doing it because somebody else had the bigger gun. So here's the weird deal. So they were cut off from fundraising. So immediately after she gets arrested, she goes to do a GoFundMe page.
Okay.
They won't take her. They won't take her because it's a terrorism deal. And she goes to multiple, right. Goes to multiple sites trying to raise money because the feds have frozen her bank accounts and everything else. I mean, they do a good job of paralyzing you if they want to. They really do. They have immense powers. So after it's all said and done, she gets 2 months probation is her charge. So she really was harmless. But should the one person who was harmless be the person telling the narrative?
Yeah.
And not being honest. Tell me what you saw, because you and I are not watching MSNBC or OAN or Fox News. I will watch some CNN, but the pictures told the story. I didn't need a narrator. Yeah. So tell me what you saw that day versus what the lady told me.
All I remember was Trump trying to convince them that he was going to join them, and these morons fell for it.
Right. Exactly.
I respect everybody's opinion and their beliefs, even though if their beliefs are idiotic. But to get to the point, the way they showed up at the Capitol, if they were just standing there protesting, they had like lawyers or something with them, I would understand it completely. Like some sort of legal representation, a body that kind of is like, okay, we believe in this. This is our advocate. You can talk to them. Were there negotiations, shit like that? Nothing. And you just rush the Capitol building and then you pretend that, oh, shit, they can't call us terrorists. We just raided a fucking government place.
And they have video of us everywhere.
And we uploaded some pictures onto our Facebook accounts just to make sure the crooked government can't delete it off our profiles.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and give them all the proof they need, for God's sakes. I mean, it, honest to God, is the most embarrassing coup attempt I've ever seen. The only one that's worse is, so Ireland, we have this Revolution Day, and they have the martyrs from it and all this stuff. They were 12 guys, probably in a bar, and they thought everybody else agreed to start this revolution. But they were all just out drinking. And then when it really came down to it, they had to do shit with their wives and their kids and stuff on the farm and didn't show up. And the Brits came in their usual way with the heavy guns and fucking killed everybody. You know, that's how that's how that works. I, honest to God, kept watching that thing, waiting for the helicopter gunship to show up. Because if Ronald Reagan was president at that time, he'd have come in and killed everybody. There would have been no doubt who was in charge by the end of the day. Remember Bolsonaro from Brazil? They had their own version of January 6th. Same bullshit.
Oh, yeah, they did have that, right, recently?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was here visiting Kevin Stitt, which I thought was oddly unusual.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was out of office and he was pissed he got voted out. So, you know, they ransacked the Capitol.
I think that's like standard operating procedure for different governments around the world now, or countries.
Right. But pre-computers, I understand it. You're really going in there to burn up all your papers. But they're in the cloud, man. I don't even know where to start that fire.
Sean, don't give these idiots ideas. They'd probably go and look for a server center next.
Where do I burn up the cloud, man? Yeah, so this Saturday, I am speaking at a Second Amendment Society meeting in Ponca City, which, you know, and the guy put out the advert for it, and it's leftist, whatever, Sean Cummings is coming up to speak, and he's an enemy of Ryan Walters, come bring questions and all this shit. And people get upset over stuff like that. Last time up there, they called me a leftist Marxist agitator. I don't give a shit. I've been called a Trumpster twice this week. So
nice. You're getting shit on by everybody on all sides, which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. If no one's mad at you, Deepak, you're not doing anything. And if both sides are mad at you, you're probably doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, literally. So I go up there on Saturday, but I do this deal in the morning. I'm doing a speech at the Capitol first, and it is basically, you know, children have rights too in schools, and you're trying to just teach parents and stuff how to spot predators, how they work, that kind of stuff, just to keep the kids safe and their friends, because usually people see what's going on, know it feels uncomfortable, but don't say anything. So you're trying to get them past that and move on to the next thing of, if this person doesn't listen, go on to the next one. So I have taken up most of the time here, but I do want to finish one more thing. Monday night, the crazy lady who had threatened me and all this other shit shows up to City Hall, and she quoted the non-doc article where I dropped the F-bomb about 10 times and our podcast.
Oh, no.
I said, right.
God damn it. We're there in the minutes of a meeting.
Exactly. Yeah, we are. We're on the official record now.
Well, that's one way to get marketing done, I guess. Exactly.
So she didn't get very far. It didn't work out well for her. And no friends showed up because they knew this guy was in the wrong. But I look at that like the lady talking about January 6th. These guys are trying to make up a narrative like, I don't need to get a lawyer. As long as I'm good with what I was doing. And then you go, that does not mean anything to anybody that you were okay with what you did.
The problem is all those legal shows have ruined people, where they've watched a couple of those shows and they think that they have practiced law and they know like the few reference points.
Right. Isn't that crazy? But you were right. Jeez. So that's what I've got going on this week. We'll see what happens on Saturday. That'll be interesting. Other than that, man, it's just hot down here.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of that. Just hot. So
one of my go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
I was going to say last week the one thing that we forgot to discuss about India in 2075 was what would that global climate be like?
So I thought of that driving in today, and I didn't write it down. So of course I forgot about it. Yeah, I mean, aren't you guys the upper part of India is in that bright red zone when they show the world that it's burning up?
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys all move south, or what happens?
I have no idea. How low are our
too many
coastal
of
regions?
Yeah, I mean, there's too many of you, and then you're going to have coastal flooding on top of it. So, yeah.
I wonder if the study or the ranking took into account that there are certain economies that are going to drown. That's why India moved up to second place.
You might be right. Well, I just sit there and go, look. So yesterday, I said this to a guy, and he teaches science in a high school, and I said, well, obviously, global warming is here. We no longer get to argue about whether it's happening or not. It's what we're going to do or not do. And in America, it appears that we're not going to do anything. Yeah. And, I don't know about you guys, but China doesn't seem to be, China's still fucking with COVID. I don't, once they get past that, they can look at some other stuff.
They are slightly preoccupied, Sean. Leave them alone. That's the thing. I don't know what we're doing for global warming. All we seem to be focused on is economic growth and consumerism, because the only thing I see is, oh, shit, our GDP is growing. Oh, shit, we're buying more products. I'm like, okay, we're buying it to drive on what exactly? I know.
Right. And I don't know. And I mean, I'm not a wizard. I don't know what to do about this, but I know a simple thing of plugging 1,000 methane gas leaking abandoned wells is a pretty easy place to start.
Yeah, you would think, Sean, that's too obvious. We don't go with that.
Yeah, right. I mean, why would we want to take 2.5 million cars off the road? And we get nothing out of it. Nobody's making any money off of it or anything. You could sell methane. I mean, it burns, but they were blaming the cows for methane gas instead of the abandoned oil wells. The cows farting all the time.
Is this the Biden coming? In cows' defense, it's them belching.
I thought it was farting.
No, for some idiotic reason, Fox News keeps calling it fucking cows farting, and Biden's coming for your hamburgers and gas stoves and shit like that. But no, cows belch. That's what releases methane.
Did not know that. Thank you for helping me with that. So it seems to me, there are some pretty simple, immediate things to do. But, once again, you have to admit there's a problem before you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think we're there yet, and I don't know what it's going to take. But so in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, which is just this area, as if you're driving to Texas, it's halfway there.
The hiking thing, right? Hiking trails and the hiking trail and that little waterfall thingy.
Yeah, it's a little bit past it. Right. Turner Falls. So it was the feel-like temperature was 125 degrees there.
Jesus Christ.
Right. But, we're at what point do you take it serious? Shit.
Just turn up the AC in your house and pretend it's not happening, I guess.
Right.
That's how the human condition is.
I know. It's just nuts. So there are places in I'm trying to think at the Arabian Peninsula, but I think that may be a term. And we are like 4 degrees from inhabitable for humans. Yeah, and you just go, but it ain't happening, man. It ain't happening. So I don't have an answer, but it's an interesting conversation.
No goodness,
exactly.
It's so weird, right? Like, it's so hot there, and I was complaining to someone yesterday about it. Like, every afternoon, it's like drizzling here.
Right. Wow.
Which don't know. I thought we were supposed to have like a full-blown monsoon, but we're just having like light showers every now and then.
Shit, will you guys run out of water then?
Yeah, because a lot of the rivers in southern India are rain-fed.
Right. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we really got problems on our hands, and getting people to take it serious is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
It's crazy, buddy. Absolutely crazy. So I do not have an answer. I wish I did.
Trying to get them to leave their phones alone for a minute and just talk about these things is almost impossible.
Right. Yeah. God, it's just nuts. And you would think, especially, remember Europe had the hottest summer on record last year, and they were like England was at 95 degrees. Ireland was slightly behind them. Those folks are not made for that shit. You would think they would have gotten on the stick, but once it passes, they go, oh, well, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, they don't understand seasons, that it's coming back next year and might be a few degrees worse. Right. How are you not comprehending the passage of time?
It is beyond me. But they're just believing the narrative they want to believe. And I always sat there and went, even if this is a possibility, we should start adjusting for it. So you could plug up wells here and sell your carbon tax credits and make money at it. Because a lot of the wells that are leaking, you could fix for like under $100 because they're pipe leaks. It's not necessarily that something's coming out of the ground. So usually you got the pipe that goes into the ground, and then there's a little area around it, so it's not completely tight, and the methane would come up from that. But these are just some breaks and stuff, and I just don't. There's a business that somebody should get into. There's money in it. Yeah,
that would be a good idea.
But the one, not yet, but I'm going to. I don't know at his age if he's even interested in this kind of shit. They're not worried about what their kids are going to do because they don't have any. It just makes no sense to him. He's just going out drinking, chasing girls. I guess he's not supposedly anymore. So maybe I'm wrong. It's nuts, bro. It is nuts. Let me go turn my bread around while we're still chatting here. I don't have any other newsworthy stuff other than, oh my God. So our guy, Ryan Walters, I know it's not a topic of conversation that matters over there, but he does a press release saying that he got in $200 million from the United States government, and it's more money than they've ever gotten from the U.S. government. Do you want to know why he got more money?
Why?
Because it's based on poverty. It's based on poverty, and our poverty gets worse every single year. And it's not any money he applied for. The other lady before him did it, but he's taken anything he can get.
Oh my God. I really want to know what that media campaign in that office looks like.
So they got a guy named Matt Langston, and he's out of Austin, Texas. And he just says, so think of the dumbest person you've ever been to school with. Literally the dumbest. And they say shit that's just incomprehensibly stupid. And you just go, yeah, okay. And you move on. He does that all the time. And he's stuck. His favorite word is woke. He's using every buzzword that gets sent down the pipe from the party leaders. And it's just boring. I'm embarrassed at how juvenile it is, because I want to look, if you can give me a good cut down, I will congratulate you before I cut you down back. But if it's just stupid, I'm embarrassed for you. I don't have any feelings beyond that. I'm literally embarrassed for you.
What is that thing that in that movie where the guy tells the audience, I feel like this room is slightly dumber now since it heard you talk.
That's genius. Yeah, it is. That thing is just a shit show. And I don't know where it ends, but I guess I'm going to be talking about it for an hour on Saturday, because that's the topic. I was going to be real nice and go, hey, I'm not running for office again. Is there anything you want to know from somebody that you think is a leftist liberal? Today is your day to ask me those questions.
Oh yeah, sorry. That would be nice if you do that, Dave.
Right. I thought that would be helpful, because, they don't see me as the enemy because I look like that.
Yeah.
And they feel like they could ask me questions and I could probably give them answers that wouldn't be as insulting. When I go to Democratic events, everything, and I really mean this, and it doesn't mean it's not true, but I don't care who you are, you get tired of hearing it. Everyone will go, well, your privilege does this. And you go, yes, I'm well aware that there is some ease for me in the world, that doesn't exist for everybody else. But do we have to cover it before I answer anything? Anytime. You just asked me where the bathroom was. That's all I had to say is, it's to your left, sir. But instead, I got to go through all this shit. I don't know what to say to him, Deep.
What is that quote about, like, the Democrats trying to appeal to Republicans, where they're like, come sit down, you superstitious idiot, let me teach you a few things. How the fuck is that supposed to work?
Okay, I may use that on Saturday. But there's something to that. And so it does matter who delivers the message. It really does. And I don't know, I'd be curious from your guys' standpoint if you have the same exact problems that we have, or if they're, because you think of how many dialects do you need to speak if you run for president over there?
Oh, God. Like right now, I think you can get away with, if like India has an official language. We don't have a national language. So the official language of India is Hindi. So if you know Hindi, you're good enough to run.
Right.
They just do Hindi and English.
Okay.
And when they show up in different states, they'll always have translators who translate into that particular state's language, because different states here speak different languages, and it's not a dialect. And like, I can drive.
It's an actual language.
Yeah.
Wow. God, that's fascinating. I'm just fascinated by the sheer numbers. I mean, the dynamic of sheer numbers. Wow. Yeah, well, here when they go to the rural areas, they talk more like this. And when they're in the city, they talk more like this. That's and invariably, they'll be in a rural area and have their rolled arms on their shirt, but the shirt's still pressed. and their pants have a crease. But but it works. I don't know. It works.
That's the weird part, right? How to cater to a particular demographic. Like here at times I'll see a politician in a rural town, but he's wearing completely traditional gear.
Right.
And then when they come to the cities, they're in more formal, slacks and still something that looks sort of traditional as a shirt.
Right. Isn't that funny? I'm not selling you guys out yet, but I'm on my way.
But the funniest thing that ever happened in India was when Justin Trudeau came here, and he was supposed to he went full Indian, he was in complete Indian outfit again.
No, with the pointy shoes and everything.
Yeah, with the headdress as well. To a point where in a meeting where he's meeting the country's foremost businessmen, all the Indian guys are in suits looking at him going what the fuck are you doing?
No. Shit. Wow. Wow. Oh, that's brutal. That is brutal, my man. All right. Well, Moms of Liberty, there's going to be are you familiar with Moms of Liberty? Have we talked about that before?
No, you'd mentioned them that we were going to.
So it's the new right-wing arm that looks like it's Grassroots, but it's really not. They're doing a luncheon, and I'm going to see if I can get into that one. But I think I'm going to get red flagged on that one. They seem a little more organized than the other folks. But they are the ones that started showing up to the school boards about pornography and indoctrination. That's who started all this shit. So, yeah. But what you do is you look and go, their artwork is very nice for people that don't know what Fiverr is. Yeah. We could create that in seconds. They can't. They're just. And so I'm looking at this photo, and there's one of them that's just smoking pretty. And of course, she's next to Ryan Walters, hugging up to him. And I'm like, well, I think I know what's going on here. But they are doing a luncheon. They are listed by the Southern Poverty Law Center as a hate group.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. I know. Moms for Liberty sounds so innocuous. Right.
Yeah, it sounds so wholesome. They're going to bring you cookies. They're going to ask you how your day is going. Here's a glass of milk.
Yeah.
But
evidently not. Evidently not. But so suburban white women are generally who control the elections here. And they have a different lifestyle that they want to keep. And they are not concerned with inner city issues. And I get that. That isn't where they live. That's not their problem. But they sponge off of the inner city. If you live in suburbia, you are essentially a gnat or a fly or, something like that on the back of the city. And then to not care about anything in the city, I just find fascinating.
Yeah, that's a very weird dichotomy of thought.
Right. Crazy, isn't it? So I got those folks to deal with, but that's all I got, man.
We are. How much time we have? The last 4 minutes.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, we're like way over 30 minutes.
Let me go back and talk about cleaning bathrooms again. I'm kidding. The real issue. All right.
Sean, in that bar's defense, they told me that their profits have actually gone up and stabilized after they started admitting only couples into their bar on Friday and Saturday nights.
Right. No doubt. I mean, we've all run into that. You get that in a college town a lot, where the kids just really don't have that much money. And God dang, man, my electric bill will be $1,700 this month.
Jesus.
I mean, yeah, I gotta sell 4,500 Guinness to pay my electric bill.
See, I've never calculated it that way, but it makes sense.
Everything comes down to what you take that, multiply it by 3, not 4,500 Guinness, $4,500 worth of Guinness. Sorry, to do that. But that's how everything in my place is calculated that way. Isn't that crazy?
Nice.
I know. All right, man. Figure out a way to take us out here, brother.
If you guys are listening to us, we're on the Spotify podcast. And if you're looking at our stupid faces on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe. You guys know how YouTube works by now, don't you all? You'll all have phones. Knock it off.